Thanks very much indeed. Yes, my name is Lembit Opik. I used to be an MP, and I used to be a Lib Dem MP as well when you could win like that. The great thing about, somebody said to me recently, the great thing about being a Liberal Democrat now is that after an election you can go around and thank everyone who voted for you personally in an afternoon. So I'm out of that now. I enjoyed my time as an MP, and I'll come back to that in just a moment. And I also work for BBC Radio Kent, and I guess maybe that's one of the reasons I'm here. I love being an MP partly because of this sort of thing. I ended up in Parliament almost by accident. It wasn't my intention to get there. But I've always thought that the meaning of life is, in a sense, the journey itself. And as an MP, you can actually make a difference to other people's journeys. And that's the interesting thing. Politicians get a really bad rap. I wouldn't want to be the Chancellor right now, because you get the negatives but not often the positives. I am an optimist because ultimately the whole point, in my view, of doing the kind of thing that's brought you here is having a belief that the human race is basically good and that we improve ourselves by doing things for other people as well. I tried to be an MP that did that, and in fairness, most politicians feel the same way. By an amazing coincidence, my name, incidentally, comes from Estonia. Lembit Opik isn't British or Northern Irish. I was born in Northern Ireland. But by an amazing coincidence, it's an anagram of the phrase, I like to be MP, which is incredible foresight and cruelty by my parents. I asked them why did they move from Estonia to Northern Ireland and have me there. And they said something like, well, we wanted you to suffer as much as we did, Lembit. But the reality is, with all of those experiences, I have come to the view that my original optimism about the human race is worthwhile, which is why this sort of event is worthwhile. Sad story now. My father died in 2005, 30th of April. He died of motor neuron disease. It's the opposite of Alzheimer's. With motor neuron disease, your mind is sound, but your body shuts down from the outside in, and it's got the highest suicide rate of any disease in the UK. He didn't commit suicide, but he did ask not to be resuscitated at the end. So, in a sense, he was allowed to die because his quality of life was not worth it anymore. I worked very hard with motor neuron disease, not because it was going to bring my father back, but because in some way, by trying to help them to care and to find a cure for that disease, it helped me, maybe in a spiritual way even. And I was very honoured to be president of the Motor Neuron Disease Association for quite a while. Well, what I learned there is something which I suppose I always knew, but when you're faced with dealing with grief and death, it's put into really sharp focus. What I realised then is that when you help other people, in some ways you help yourself too. And you can't put that in money. And you can't work that out as a profit, or whether it's worth doing these things for free when you could be working in your employment or applying for jobs and making money for yourself. It's a different kind of payment. And that was in 2005, that was 12 years ago. And it did change my point of view. And this leads me to why I think this sort of thing is absolutely brilliant. First of all, because the whole Celebrate campaign is very, very clearly defined. This is a wonderful welcome pack. In fact, if I'd had leaflets this good in 2010, I might have not lost my seat. But it's absolutely clear what this is about. It's about giving of yourself in order to help the community. Funny enough, the BBC is doing a campaign called One Little Thing at the moment. If we all did one little thing for our communities, then we make a huge difference to that community. So the first reason this is great is because it's about putting it on the table that this isn't being paid back in money, but perhaps being paid back in spirit. The second reason I think this is so promising is because the request they've got is very simple. Celebrate on the 16th of September. Sign up today so that you can be part of that showcase, part of that expo, and share what you do. Now, if you're not sure how much you want to commit, that's fine. Still, sign up now, and you've got time to work out that commitment. The great thing about volunteering is it's voluntary. You decide how much or how little you want to do, but even a small amount makes a huge difference to other people. And the third thing is that when I met the organisers today, I was hoping to meet some effective people, but instead, I've met the best. There we are, that's a relief. These people aren't doing it for any other reason than exactly what the soul of Celebrate is all about. They're not doing it for income, they're not doing it for glory, they're doing it because they really believe in this community. 16,000 people, or 32,000 if you include all the satellite areas around Uckfield, will benefit from what you do. I've got no authority, no status to say this apart from my own life experience, but just as I suppose I volunteered to come here today, I just really believe that in life you've got to be a spirit, not a ghost. You can be a ghost by having a perfectly comfortable life, by doing your 9 to 5, by putting a bit of money into a charity box from time to time. There's nothing really wrong with that. But if you're a spirit, you do some of the uncomfortable things. You go out in the rain when you don't feel like it, and you do the voluntary thing. You help people who don't say thank you. You accept criticism from people who weren't paying you to help them in the first place. And oftentimes, those people don't mean to be mean, but they're so used to being either socially excluded, or in pain, or in grief, that they forget that that's not the best way to thank you. But if you're a spirit, you understand that. And you get your reward in a slightly different way. I used to think that there was some destination in my life, maybe Parliament or running the Welsh Lib Dems, but I realised the destination is the same for all of us, really. And therefore I've changed my view, and the meaning of life is that journey, like I said at the beginning. And this can make your journey more valuable because you're adding help to other people as well. And you can be miserable, and you can get tired. A friend of mine reminded me that the Dalai Lama once said, suffering is inevitable, but misery, that's a choice. And you can choose to be miserable, and you can choose to look out for yourself alone. But I don't think there's a single person in this room who would do that, because you wouldn't be here in the first place. You have self-selected yourselves to be ambassadors to celebrate the best that is in Uckfield and the surrounding community. And you might think that I just write all this stuff down and prepare it because I do this all over the place. I don't. I hardly have any time to do this kind of thing at all. I came here because my friend Mike from BBC Radio Kent has got an absolute belief in this community, and he talked me into coming here today. And we'll be doing his show this afternoon as well, 4 p.m. That's right. So tune in and you'll hear us saying all of this stuff again. But ultimately I'm here because I believe that you shouldn't always make the calculation. You should just get up, get on with it, and make a commitment. And don't expect other people to thank you, because often they will. Just recognise you're adding something to yourself. Thank you for letting me come along today, Ginny. I hope that you will sign up. If you forget everything else I say, just sign up to this thing on the 16th of September. You might even remember on the 14th of September you signed up. Still gives you 48 hours to put something together. The commitment, my only purpose today is to get you to sign up to this. And if you do, not only will you be making the community that you live in a better place to live, but you'll be making your life a little bit more valuable too. Thanks so much.